Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Yana Johnson, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Major Andrew Patterson. After 44 years of service, today marks his last day in uniform. Andrew, we thank you for your service. We warmly welcome the family of Flight Sergeant Dennis Geoffrey Featherstone, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. Please stand and join in singing the national anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which he remained true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Flight Sergeant Dennis Geoffrey Featherstone. Dennis Featherstone was born on October 22nd, October 1925 in the Melbourne suburb of Box Hill, the third child of Clarence and Constance Featherstone. His family had recently immigrated to Australia. His brother Brian had been born in Ireland and his sister Margaret, known as Peggy, in London. Dennis Featherstone attended our Holy Redeemer's Primary School in Surrey Hills, St John's Marist College in Glenferrie, then earned his sub-intermediate certificate at Christian Brothers College in East Melbourne. He enjoyed playing sport, particularly cricket, tennis, badminton, boxing and golf. His father had served in the British Navy during the First World War. Perhaps motivated by his father's example, in 1942, when Dennis was 17 years old, he attempted to enlist in the Royal Australian Navy, but was rejected. According to family legend, this was due to him having lost a toe after jumping off a moving tram and having his foot run over. He instead became a member of the Air Training Corps, part of the Royal Australian Air Force Reserve, and went to work as a junior inspector at the aircraft manufacturer, the Commonwealth Aircraft Corporation. In late 1943, less than a week after having turned 18, he was accepted for active service in the Royal Australian Air Force. After extensive training and regular promotion, Flight Sergeant Featherstone received his Air Gunner's Badge in August 1944. Reports indicated that he was a good student, creating a distinctively favourable impression and being quick to learn, dependable and self-assured. It was recognised early that with age and experience, he would be good officer material. Featherstone undertook a number of training courses before being posted to No. 24 Squadron in December 1944. Operating from bases in the Northern Territory, No. 24 Squadron flew bombing and anti-shipping strikes against Japanese forces in the Netherlands East Indies before being deployed to Morotai Island and then to Balikpapan to support Operation Oboe. Between the 1st of May and the 21st of July 1945, the Australia First Corps attacked Japanese forces occupying the island of Borneo. On the 2nd of July, Featherstone's B-24 Liberator failed to return from a mission. The crew was posted as missing, but news was soon received that an aircraft had been seen to crash near Balikpapan after being hit by anti-aircraft fire. Investigation of the crash site revealed that all on board had been killed. They had suffered severe injuries on impact, and only 3 could be identified by tags. Featherstone's remains were identified by his wristwatch. The crew was buried nearby and later moved to Labuan War Cemetery after the war. Dennis Featherstone was 19 years old. Today, his body rests in the Labuan War Cemetery off the coast of northwest Borneo, under the epitaph, and all the trumpets sounded for him on the other side. Dennis's brother Brian had enlisted shortly after the declaration of war in November 1939 and was discharged at the end of the war in August 1945. Keen for the details of his brother's death, Brian spoke to a wing commander who had seen the crash. Given details of the location, Brian visited both the crash site and his brother's grave before the end of the war. Dennis Featherstone's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left amongst the almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flight Sergeant Dennis Geoffrey Featherstone, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall not grow old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and we wish you all a very good evening.